return. But what good it to me if he's present? I don't know he's present.
Right.
You
Let their shadow behind you. You never know it's there.
right.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happens. We're actually designed to identify with Jesus to such a degree that when we look at him, he tells us about our life.
Yes. Oh, that's so good.
But when we have this theology that leaves God way up there and us way down here,
Separate.
we can't ever identify with him. But we're supposed to receive strength in the inner man by identifying with him.
Right.
That's where we receive the strength.
It's happening.
Right? That's where we're supposed to get it from. That's why it says Jesus is the light that came into the world that lighteth every man that come into the world. Right? It means Jesus came into the world as the interpretation of every human being's life.
Whoa.
As the Father's word about everybody's life, as the Father's discernment about what happened in everybody's life, Jesus came and interpreted what happened between Adam and God in the beginning. Right? He came and interpreted what went down with God and man when man ate from the tree of life. He came and interpreted that it wasn't God who ran away from man. He came and interpreted that it wasn't God who was angry with man. He came and interpreted that it was man that ran from God. He came and interpreted that God didn't forsake man because man sinned. He came and interpreted that the Father was always chasing man to clothe them with life and save them from death. He came and interpreted everybody's story with God. So he came and interpreted God for who he really is, and then he came and interpreted you for who you really are, and what the Father really thinks about you, and what the Father intends to do with your life. Then John says, now, to all those who receive, that word receive is labano, which means to grab a hold of something. So to all of those who grab a hold of the Father's testimony to them in Jesus, they will receive strength to appear as the sons and daughters of God.
Hallelujah. Which ties you right back to Revelation 13, which is where you finished up with on Sunday.
Right, with overcoming the accusation.
Yes, right, by the word of your testimony.
Which is the whole point, is us overcoming the accusation.
Hallelujah. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But what the serpent wants to do is get us to not see the accusation, because then we become deceived by his devices, and he wants us to get focused on our doing.
Absolutely.
Get focused on our doing. Justification is about you did wrong, and now God has to do something so he can see you as if you never did wrong. Now all your thoughts about justification are centered around you're doing. You're doing. You're doing. You're doing. You're doing. Right?
Yes.
Instead of, there's an accusation that's been leveled against me, and God has declared me innocent of the accusation. See, when you start realizing you've been declared innocent of the accusation, you recognize it when it comes against you.
Yeah.
When the accusation tries to come against you, you recognize it. You're not going to be beguiled by the serpent like Eve was. How was she beguiled? She already was the image of God. She already was the child of God, and Satan came and told her, "You're not."
Right.
And so he beguiled her into thinking that she wasn't. But she could use this great ability she has, and she could prove it. Right?
Yes.
And so we're saved from that, and in your heart, you can start to recognize when your soul feels pressed in on, when you're feeling distraught in your soul or sorrowful in your soul, something in this world is trying to tell you you lack something that's needed for life and godliness. And if that be the case, that thing's trying to question whether or not you are a son and daughter of God.
Yes.
Would you really have this going on in your life if you were the son and daughter of God? Is God really with you? Well, certainly if you were the son or the daughter of God, wouldn't he be here with you?
Didn't you forfeit your inheritance by this conduct?
All those different kinds of things. Isn't that what they said to Jesus?
Yes.
Look at you.
Yep.
You can't be the son.
Right.
Clearly, God's not with you. Look at you. I don't care what kind of fruit of death we think is manifesting in our life. It pales in comparison to the fruit of death that Jesus saw manifesting in him as he hung on the cross. Right?
Yeah.
But he was justified by the Spirit,
Yes.
not by the flesh.
Yes.
And you know.